Hello YouTube, my name is James and I would like to thank you for joining my channel today. We have an interesting little project going on today. What I'm going to be doing is taking this Raspberry Pi. It's a Raspberry Pi 4B. It has two micro HDMI outputs for video and is powered by a USB Type-C connector. And I'm going to be setting up the hardware to be able to connect it to my monitor, which has a VGA connection. So in doing that, we're going to need this box. It is a HDMI to VGA converter. Because HDMI is a digital signal and VGA is an analog signal, you can't just use a cable. You have to actually have an active conversion device to make it work. So first thing we're going to do is open the converter box, and I will show everybody what's inside. I've never opened one of these before. Especially not this particular brand. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on inside here. So with that said, let's dig in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, like I said earlier, is open the box. Yeah, you might see the lights over here. Right next to my computer. And if it bothers anybody, I apologize for that. But anyway, so I'm going to take my nice trusty box cutter and find a safe place to stab the box and cut it open. There we go. Set this to the side and tear this packaging off. And I imagine this probably should be fairly simple. Probably is just going to have the main unit, the power supply, and possibly some kind of instructions that I'm not going to look at just because I don't want to look at it. But so we open this up, and here's the instructions manual. Set that to the side. Oh, well, this was slightly unexpected. It also has a UK variant plug. The actual main unit and the power supply that will get plugged into the wall. So this power supply has an output of 5 volt 2 amp. I'll have to see if I have a barrel connector like this. I may have one that will fit and plug directly into the USB port on the computer. I don't know. And underneath this tray is absolutely nothing. So I was pretty accurate about what was in here. We'll set the power supply off to the side. We'll set the box off to the side. And we'll go ahead and unpackage this little guy. So this thing, oh, sorry, and I'm dropping stuff over here. Looks to be fairly straightforward. On the input side, we have our 5 volt power and HDMI input. And I'm not sure what that little light is. I might have to look at the manual to find out. Actually, thinking about it, I will look at the manual. Item number 4, power LED. So it's just the power to show that you have power. And then on this side is the output side. So you have your VGA connector that is going to go from the box to my monitor here, and audio, but I'm not going to set up audio through this. I might just do audio. I'll figure audio out some other way. Like I said, we're not going to use the audio side, so it'll be all right. But I mean, that's what's in the box. So what we're going to do from here is try to set everything up. I have my Raspberry Pi 4B This particular unit has 4 gigabytes of built-in RAM, and I mean, there's pretty much the whole thing. The little dongle on the side is a Logitech unifying receiver that'll be for the keyboard and mouse that I'll be using for this unit. So, but there's that. Snap that back on. For power, I'm going to try to power the Pi directly off of my computer. And by doing that, in order to do that, I have a USB Type-C cable that will plug into the power port on the Pi. Well, actually, it's going to plug into this power switch, the CanaKit Pi switch, that will then plug into the Pi on this connection here. It says USB-C power, so we'll plug that in there. And we'll plug the other end of the USB cable into my computer. Oh, that is plugged in, and I'm just going to turn this on just to make sure that it actually does power up. So we will hit the button. Yep, as you can see, the power light is on. The activity light it is trying to boot is turned on. So it is working and being powered completely by the computer here. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend doing this because you can go, you can get data corruption, that kind of stuff. But whenever it's done booting, and I'm sure that there's no information being written to or read from the SD card, I will just turn it off using the Pi switch here. That seems to be where it is now, so we'll go ahead and turn it off, and we'll set this aside. So the next thing to have to do is we're going to take this cable. This is one of the cables that came with the Pi. It is a micro HDMI to HDMI, so we're going to take this cable and connect it to the HDMI converter box, take the micro end and connect it to port 1, well, correction, HDMI 0, it's the closest one to the power supply. I'll plug that in. Then we're going to take the included power supply for the converter box. It has to have power because it's an active converter, which means that it actually has to be able to read the incoming signal and then reconvert it to the outgoing VGA signal that will then go to the monitor that I'm using. So we will plug this in, plug it into power. Oh, it's a bright light. So there's power, as you can see. There's a really bright light. Okay. The only other thing left to connect is going to be the VGA cable, which I already have connected to my computer because I've had to use it for something a while ago, and I just never disconnected it from the monitor. So we'll go ahead and plug this in on this end. And then I do not have a capture card, so the only way that I can show you that the computer is actually going to boot, or that the Pi is actually going to boot and that this whole setup is working, would be to just point my camera at the monitor. So let's do that. I know right now it looks like a big mess of cables, but I'm going to cable manage after I make sure that everything is actually working and the box is doing what I need it to do. And then I'll put everything in its final place and cable manage it, and I will probably show the final setup result. So hook this up to the monitor and make sure it works. And well, as you can see, the computer has booted up perfectly fine right to the Raspberry Pi desktop. To be more accurate, it's the Raspbian desktop, not just Raspberry Pi. Now, since this is actually working, I will go ahead and shut it down. For those who were paying attention, I did suggest that I might actually go ahead and show my setup here. Right now I have the the Raspberry Pi is currently booting up. And is now on the desktop. So if you see any smoke, it's because I have a little incense burner going. I decided to put the Raspberry Pi here, and the converter box is sitting back there behind most of my stuff here. And the Raspberry Pi is currently connected to my desktop. As you can see, I have a fairly, not a very big workspace, but it's big enough for what I do. So these are not the keyboard and mouse that I'll be using on the Pi. This is what I use on the Razer stuff is what I use on the big computer. The mouse that I use for the Pi is this one. It is a MX Master 3 rechargeable wireless mouse from Logitech. And if I move my keyboard and stuff out of the way, I can bring up the other keyboard. And my keyboard that I use is this one, which is the MX Keys. And both wireless, they both are able to connect to the same unifying receiver. And I can use the mouse and the keyboard with the Pi. I know the Pi has Bluetooth capabilities. Both the mouse and the keyboard also have Bluetooth capabilities, but it's easier to go ahead and use the dongle. Don't have to worry about the Bluetooth falling out or anything like that. I do also use this keyboard and mouse on my laptop, which right now is in another room, when I want to use the keyboard and mouse for the laptop. And that is connected with Bluetooth. And I do have some issues where the Bluetooth occasionally will fall out. So, but yeah, like I said, I would show everybody my little setup after I got the Pi set up. So, and just to show you, this one monitor is actually being used for both machines. So I can click this over and, you can see me recording. But, hey, I suggested that I would show the setup, so I decided to go ahead and do it. This is my computer. You guys might recognize it if you saw my installing the Asus motherboard video. That was actually done on this particular computer, and it is in there. It is chugging along and doing what it should be doing just well. And so, well, there you have it. I have been able to connect my Raspberry Pi 4B with an HDMI only output to a monitor that only has an available VGA input using an active HDMI to VGA converter box. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down in the bottom, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.